I'm real tired, man. I'm really tired about this cycle. I'm old enough to remember when being a Call of Duty fan was actually cool and it felt genuinely great to be hyped to the gills for the next annual installment of the series. And to be completely honest, we had a far better run than we ever deserved as a community with this one game franchise. The launch days for these games were a genuine cultural event that you just had to be there for if you were in the gaming zeitgeist and happened to be a Call of Duty fan. COD as a brand has now pierced the veil on that hype and excitement and has come full circle to the point where so few people care anymore. At least not in the same way we all did back in 2007 to 2012, the proverbial golden era of COD. Now we're just running on the same hamster wheel year after year while Activision and the army of dev studios under the Call of Duty umbrella try to convince us year over year that this is the game. And this time we really should be excited for the next mainline title in the series. And don't get me wrong, each Call of Duty usually has its merits, however few, the one or two positive things that year's entry actually does do well. But lately, it just hasn't been hitting the way that it should or how Activision would want. And yet, the game as an IP still does stupid numbers on the sales chart year over year, only being dethroned by Battlefield 6 this past year for the first time, literally ever. My obvious solution to this, at least what I've been thinking about for literal years at this point, and this is going to seem painfully obvious to some of you watching this, but my solution is to simply take at minimum 2 years off of releasing a mainline Call of Duty game. However, sadly, that is probably never going to happen. Why, you ask? It's pretty simple. Greed. Call of Duty has ballooned to such a degree that even the stupid events that the game holds every season for whatever holiday have their own premium battle passes. Every little thing is nickel and dimed out of you, the player, and then reinvested into God knows what. I say this because of the literal billions of dollars that is generated from all the shameless microtransactions. It seems that a fraction of it actually makes its way back into the game itself to foster new and interesting ideas, or take the series in a fresh new direction altogether. As far as I could tell at this point, it just gets put back into the monstrous marketing machine that is Call of Duty. Does anything look drastically different or new or original from game to game? Absolutely not. It's just incremental tweaks and adjustments for each game. Furthermore, Call of Duty as a brand is so fragmented that you get different parts of the community preferring specific sub-franchises. Some people like to play Black Ops, some like the Modern Warfare series better, and then there's the redheaded stepchild that is Sledgehammer. They seem to be the ones that take the oddball swings at the game. They try to be really creative and do projects like Vanguard and Advanced Warfare. At this point, I'm more inclined to think that Call of Duty as an IP is more of a military recruitment psyop than it is a fun video game. And to be clear, I don't hate COD. If anything, it just makes me tired when I'm talking about it at this point. But be that as it may, I'm actually looking forward to Modern Warfare 4 quite a bit. Modern Warfare has always been the series that I've gravitated to the most. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, the original one, is probably in my top 5 games of all time, if not my top 3. And I've liked, to varying degrees, every single Modern Warfare game, with the harsh exception of the campaign for Modern Warfare 3. That campaign was just so laughably bad, Sledgehammer should be embarrassed by it. But I digress. The multiplayer in Modern Warfare 3 was actually pretty good, but I'm not really here to deep dive into any one title right now. That might come later, we'll see. The age-old adage of vote with your wallet is constantly thrown around, and I just don't think that holds much water anymore, and here's why. Call of Duty as a franchise has had its hooks so incredibly deep in the very mainstream of our entertainment popular culture that the vast majority of people who will actually go out and purchase the game have no real clue of how far the property has fallen from its former glory. These aren't people that know what's really going on in the gaming industry at large and how much of a microtransaction hellscape almost every last game has turned into. And it's not even really their fault. People have lives, they have spouses, they've got kids, responsibilities at work, the list can go on and on. They can't be bothered to keep their finger on the pulse of the gaming industry, and they really shouldn't either. It's not really their responsibility to make sure things aren't completely shit all the time in video games. It's just a game that's fun to play. It looks graphically impressive, and it's a good time with the boys. And if the game costs $70 or $100 plus all the microtransactions, then so be it. After all, Call of Duty at a foundational level is so incredibly hard to make not fun in its moment-to-moment gameplay that that year's current developer would have to go out of their way to make it that way. The original team behind the Call of Duty IP, led by Jason West and the late great Vince Zampella, just absolutely nailed the core foundational gameplay so perfect from day one that it's literally carried the entire IP on its back for the last 20 years. There was a reason that Respawn Entertainment was founded following the legal disaster in the wake of the release of Modern Warfare 2 way back when in 2010. Even the games that aren't as heavy-handed with these monetization practices still have some form of cash shops, because they would be idiots not to do that in today's age. They would essentially be leaving vast sums of money on the table, and no publisher would ever allow their game to exist today without some form of the cash shop, unless they're truly independent to begin with. But I'm getting off topic here. Back to the original point at hand. I've just become so exhausted with the hamster wheel that we've been running on for the last 2 decades. While, yes, I'm still looking forward to Modern Warfare 4, I'm not hyped in the same way that I was hyped for Modern Warfare 2 in 2009 or Black Ops, the original Black Ops, in 2010. Those days are so long gone, and they probably will never ever come back. It's actually really depressing. I'd be hard pressed to find another game franchise that releases annually in the same vein as Call of Duty while still being able to commercially perform as strongly as this one IP does. It's pretty wild, actually. I actually had to Google while writing this script with the exception of any sports titles, the only other game to not miss an annual release is Assassin's Creed, but even they shifted to longer development cycles starting in 2016, which is still 10 years ago at this point, further enforcing my point that Call of Duty is probably the only IP in video games to not miss a single premium release annually since 2003. Like, just 2003. That is just fucking bonkers. It's just preposterous, and I think that something needs to change. But it won't until the sales start to take a serious hit, which they won't due to the casual fans reason that I just went over. And so, the cycle is going to continue. And for what it's worth, I think Activision would have allowed for a longer development/release schedule if it hadn't been for Modern Warfare 2019. That game was so unbelievably successful that it brought back fans that have long left the franchise, it breathed new life into the entire IP, and gave it its second wind that's still having its ripple effect felt today. The only other Call of Duty game that sold better than Modern Warfare 2019 was Black Ops 3 back in 2015. And what's so ironic to me is that it took Activision getting a pretty big chunk of the original development team that made Call of Duty so great in the first place to come back and do it again with Modern Warfare 2019. It's incredible. It really just goes to show that the brain rot and talent drain the industry is currently caught in with really no signs of stopping. But again, that's just a video for a very different day. In conclusion, I guess this video is just a very long-winded way of saying that COD is fundamentally broken as a product in today's gaming landscape. Every single year, the comment section is flooded with hate and rage bait about how it's a dead game and there's nothing new coming this time and there's no innovation anymore, and on and on and on. And while a large part of that is true, the solution just seems so obvious, yet the corporate interests involved with Call of Duty are never going to let the game take any time off. I'm not really sure where that leaves us as the community overall. I get the sense that COD will either hemorrhage players and garner more ill will as the years continue to go by, or they could start taking some real risks and see where they can bring the IP in the future. If all else fails and whatever risk they do decide to take falls flat on its face, they could always do what Capcom has been doing that they seem to be having so much success with, and remake all of the old universally loved Call of Duty games that, like I said before, were from the proverbial golden era, to inject some new kind of excitement and goodwill into the community, into the Call of Duty community overall. Ultimately, the ball is in Activision's court. They can either continue to bleed the community dry until there's nothing left but a corporate shell, or they can finally take a risk, look at what works, give the fans what they actually want. But until that day comes, the cycle is just going to continue, I guess. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see everyone in the next video.